at that Pro-Am, and here they're perfectly executing a pinch as they get shot a little bit, but I think they still have it. Yes, Wildcat's going to take down that player, and Tim's going to get the finish.
Doing that classic animal aspect, right wall, left wall, showdown there on that other duo that they just cleaned up in record time. Not sure where the other individual is, but it's just big pop-off moments.
So maybe they learned something at the Pro-Am, right?
Absolutely.
That high-pressure, high-stakes situation, they played on that stage that a lot of these players are vying and fighting to get on at the end of July.
Absolutely. Talk about high pressure. Now we're on high ground where the pressure is very different, as this is the moment where you have to capitalize, make sure you get as many eliminations and pick up your points where you can, because it's not only about winning games. You have to be dynamic enough to pick up on advantages, get those elim points, get a nice 50-50 split on what you're doing. You can't just be complacent and play these games. Boppin and Ghost is lost. Up top shooting at oh, never mind. Can they get that beam off the sky? Yes, they do, as he comes rocketing down to the ground, landing below. We'll see who picks up that loot in just a second. One smoke grenade left for Ghost, so not that much insurance as we talked about before, but we'll see if he can make his position. It is the best one on the server, right behind where the storm is going to be rotating to, and we'll see if he can pop off from that moment as well.
So here now, 6 zone starting to move. You said it was the best position possible in the server, and I just have to wonder, why is that Shio? I mean, they have the high ground, and their back is... What's going on here with Ghost and Boppin?
So in this position, as you can see, they get a nice theater widescreen 16:9 native view on the entire rest of the map, moving straight towards them. And they don't have to use as many mats at all. People can rotate below them. They can follow tarps. They just are allowed to do anything they want on their own pace when you have height right behind the storm. It makes it so that the storm moves onto you. You control the pace of the game. But if you do tunnel vision like they are now, sometimes you get left behind on the storm. Snaz that fend. This aim is ridiculous, as 2 people have now been beamed. 6 eliminations across both individuals who are still maintaining height, which is a very difficult feat from the 5th zone all the way to the end. We'll see if it's possible. Now Waterfall's coming down. It's very, very hard to have that mat management and be able to still move forward, moving zone to moving zone, as the distances are so far. At this moment, though, we see them utilizing just 1 tarp layers. Hold her hand getting knocked by Ghost. Swervo on the low ground as well, doing a lot of work, seeing if he can survive and get up top. Just look at this big view of the map moving forward, all metal.
And Wildcat's still up in this game, so he's, pushing towards those placement points and earning them as we speak right now. Moving closer to that top 10, Boppin and Ghost up on high ground. We've seen them time and time again find these opportunities, find these picks. Not going to find that one, just barely, as he escapes from below him. Right now, again, tarping. Being efficient with their materials. They're still lasting a little bit longer, but each time they get knocked out, they get reset. They have to refresh and figure out what they want to do. Not a single one of their eliminations they have gotten the spoils from, the materials to refresh up on.
Absolutely. I feel relaxed looking at this right now. As well, there's going to be a mountain that people have to move up on. Boppin instantly seeing that and moves up. Awesome game sense there. He connects. Now they have an entire choke line on everyone else at the bottom of this side of the server. They can end the game before the 9th zone even shows itself.
And I love what they're doing here. You talked about Boppin getting that mountain, getting the connection here, but Ghost is just staying down below. He knows the conditions of the server. He knows it's running dry on players, so they're making sure that they maximize all of the eliminations they can get, all the potential they can get out of the server. And I think they're going to clean up here, Shio, as they take out one more in Cam, one more player for them to find.
This awesome positioning by both people, spreading apart, then coming together on pinches. Now they're going to fight together. No reason to give the individual Keen 2 1v1s and risk that win. A big tarp coming through all the mats. They finally got some fruition from their eliminations. We'll see if Keen can pull a Savage and Shadow up. He's trying to. Not possible. They're Bopping, coming out with a donkey laugh. Easy claps from this duo right now. Keen still working at it. Ghost is lost. Very awesome and smart play. They're going for that last elimination point, making sure these guys have everything from this game possible. Just a perfect 5th to 9th zone height hold and awesome win at the end of the day.
And timing was everything there. They already blocked him out. You saw he tried to shadow out, but he didn't find any opportunities to get out from under that carpet that they made. Strong. And by the time that he ran out of HP, by the time he was about to go to the zone, they made sure they capitalized and got that last elimination.
Absolutely. I'm seeing something a little bit odd here. I see Riversen on
NA East?
The East servers. Hello.
And, you know, not with his normal partner at all. Anthony, this is a new one for week 10.
Absolutely. You talk about week 10 pressure. You know, it makes people make these not maybe drastic, but interesting choices to make sure they are on top of their game and have the most amount of chance to qualify. They're playing at their peak performance. So at the moment, Anthony and Riverson, two big powerhouses, solos and duos, coming together. We'll see if they can use their position as a pivot point to make sure the entire server answers to them, just like we saw from the last game, Bala.
And Anthony is one of those players that was severely, very, very hyped going into back at TwitchCon all the way back then in last fall. It's almost a year now since then. That's pretty crazy to think about. His partner Joseph splitting up now and, you know, going with Riversun here, and Riversun obviously possibly moving to the East Coast for this.
Absolutely.
Or playing on that West Ping regardless.
Big beams coming in as we talk about playing offer utility. Bolt Glace going down to this insane Munch Wombo combo. We talk about positioning as well as Anthony stays up top, letting Riverson stay in the fray of the fight, but providing support as well from just one level above. And they have that pyramid and floor edit as well. It's going to be impossible for those individuals who just went down to do anything for defense. But, you know, Riverson looked as the role model of the West community. A lot of people learn a lot from watching his VODs and his streams. We'll see what he can do on East. Right now, it's still perfect stuff. Maybe he switched up for his ping as well. But if he is playing on 60, it looks really good.
Looks good indeed. Now moving on to another duo that definitely looks good. It's Commandment and High Sky. Commandment obviously qualifying in the first week of solos. But not yet qualifying in duos. In the background, Snood and Thwifo, who had a very, very great performance in week 8. And Snood, one of those guys who, you know, is just barely making it week after week after week. So last opportunity here. You have that rift to go. That's going to get them very far in this game.
Yeah, they actually choose, I think, to take the jump pad instead. It might have been an enemy rift. High Sky being the one who also had a very, very awesome Blackheart performance. We'll see if he can replicate that in this moment as well.
First place.
Yeah, first place. It was amazing. Bot reviewed that, learned. We'll see if that reload might come in the way of the beam. It does, unfortunately. No damage going down as he's in brick. Has the rift and smokes as well as Commandment now gets up with his bandages. A big shot coming off on Warrior. That's a lot of good stuff earned by High Sky there.
And you have to actually notice and take note of how he actually pulled out his rift. He was like, let's go, I'm ready for this. But then starting to, you know, realize exactly what needs to go on. Commandment gets beamed down, but he waited that last extra second to get that elimination. But thankfully for Commandment, at 1 HP, Shio, he does have the minis and the bandages to recover it.
After week 6, people understood that white health is something you have to prioritize so much, especially with the storm flip coming in throughout this whole week. It was just recently disabled for week 10, so people might still be on that bandwagon of holding that white health as for patterns when you practice and then you play again. He's very thankful for that right now, Commandment, because he has those white HPs somehow finding each other in the same box after smokes. It's so hard to locate a good path to move around in, but now Commandment looking for anything to capitalize on. Big beams coming down, 272. The entire blue shield gets broken from that low ground commando skin. Fami finally going down to the storm actually after that beam. We'll see if these actually smoke again, stick together. Balls everywhere as well. They're going to be dropping down to the low ground. This is the best option for people trying to stick together, but the riskiest after it's done, because you have to now make an entire new development of your own layer, your own boxes to get enough pressure to capitalize on through the rest of the game.
Now Commandment going down to low ground here with High Sky. I'm curious of what's in High Sky's inventory, because we haven't seen them swap any sort of heals or anything like that yet. But Commandment did get that siphon from the player who went down to zone, but hold on. Splode's coming in from the side. They back up together. Now Shadow's going in again. So, Shio, you've VOD reviewed all these situations many, many times. Look what happened here to Commandment. Playing low ground in these situations end up being so risky, but also potentially rewarding as he picks up one more elimination.
The biggest thing about this zone at the moment is that although people hate on them, balls are still available, making it so that there's not too many builds blocking Commandment from coming back up from that low ground. We talk about low, let's switch over to high. Riverson up top with Anthony, once again doing the rain dance, all the bullets falling down below. Frey, Snood, and Thwifo are actually going to be the ones to get the front of that force from up top. Riverson dropping down, taking a little bit of fall damage, needs a siphon elimination here as he does not have any white heals at the moment. A surprise box opening is now going to be realized that where the pressure's coming from Riversan. We'll see if he can dynamically switch between these mat layers to get a nice vantage point or a surprise shot off on anyone. But there are so many hard mats at this point. Everyone's adapted on the rotation meta, the tunneling meta, when to have wood out, when to use brick and metal. And it's going to be so hard, especially with attack AR, to beam through these builds.
You can see him trying to open up the sightlines, trying to break through and create any sort of gap where he can find an opportunity. There does get a little bit of a shield tag, but still nothing yet. As you talked about, the hard mats being so useful for these players down on low ground. Now getting up close and personal, that's Thwaipo who goes down, so Snood now left on his lonesome.
We talk about using utility. There's not much available left to crack open the server. We did see Riverson use some stinks earlier to capitalize on an elimination. High Sky now down on bottom with Bluff. These guys are going to have to fight for this entire layer. Big shots being traded. Bluff goes and gets that elimination on High Sky. TJ now falling with COD Genesis. One of the other duos left is going to be a 2v2v1. Anthony and Riverson want to crush down this entire high ground layer. Makes it very easy to pressure. No one's on ultimate low at the moment. Can Bluff call that bluff and go all the way down? COD Gen comes down to Bluff. He might get the Cypher for that as well. Give him a nice, easy picking on Anthony and Riverson, as well as they might be able to take height now. A 1v1 coming in, but Riverson representing NA East now, popping off and getting the elimination.
Switching coasts, and I think that was a perfect, opportunity to talk about their chemistry there in the last moments. That timing by Anthony and Riverson to come down right on top of all the duos, right as they all felt within each other, all of them trading shots together, and then they just come in and clean up. That's all they needed to do.
Absolutely, just stick on the same page, not one person building and one person shooting, 2 shots coming in, and a nice 1-for-2 trade there, or 2-for-1 trade, netting them the win. We now have Zofer chilling on, once again, a Polar Peak lair. Looks like every region is now having their own respective biome to play in. We saw EU with a lot of guys or Northeast games. We'll see if the filter, the great filter, can be overcome this time as Thick Boy Uravs and 99 Zofer see if they can hold off on this pressure. The wall replaces. You're never sure how much ping your enemy has, how much you have.
Ooh.
A big trap placement coming in. B-Man going down. No secret there, as the whole server now knows the mistakes they've made on that push.
That was a crazy prediction there by Zofer to realize, hey, he's pressuring my roof. He maybe got a roof or two or whatever, but then realizing he's going to drop down on my wall next. I'm going to go ahead and preemptively place this trap. And he fell right into it.
The grind that these players do, Atlantis to Duo Arena to these big pro scrims, you'll be facing so many people and identifying so many patterns that sometimes it's just second nature to predict things that just work out for you all the time as well. Sheep and Famhood now on the top of Polar Peak.
Speaking of second nature, I mean, we're in the box fight era right now, so that is exactly true. As Sheep and Famhood with the high ground on Polar Peak, they're trying to control this entire thing. They're trying to control that edge, and it could be so valuable for them. No, I'm going to go ahead and dive down.
At the moment, not Panda, not in his natural climate. Going to get frosted over by Sheep, who's going to survive with that big wool fur all over his body. These misfits up top going to make sure they're going to do a little bit of mischievous things to the rest of the server as well. 4D, Raz, and Vorpal, though, sneaky right below. Not sure if Famhood and Sheep know where they are. Famhood making sure he has some insurance just in case the zone does bounce back. It's actually looking like it is going to go a little bit behind them. They have that prime position once again.
You just mentioned the insurance right there. What Famhood did was actually connect to the side of Polar Peak so that he makes sure, hey, Raz and Vorpal, I know you guys are down there. I know we landed on your base, but this is our real estate now. If you want to go ahead and make edit plays, no, you can't. I bought it.
The Fortnite housing market has some beef in it right now. We'll see if these guys can figure it out, up that property value. Gonna look at low ground right now. Once again, these people getting caught on the backside of zone, maybe using that rift a little bit too late, all the way up top. Postic taking an elim out on Tyler's. Tyler's now getting knocked after that. The sacrifice you make on low ground sometimes can be too much to give you any advantages as well. A stink grenade coming out on the follow-up. Axiom.
Perfect math. Right? He's doing it in his head right now. He knows exactly what he hit that player for. He saw the white damage come through. He did the math. He did the addition. He knows one stink is going to take you out. So perfect recognition here. They took out Painful's teammate a second ago, but no, I thought he was going to go ahead right through the back of that. It's going off the side of Polar right now, and we know who's up on top. It's still Famhood and Sheep continuing to hold that real estate.
The big thing about this Polar mountain, especially when you're playing on the side of it, is it always gives you natural ground to connect to on the mid-ground tarp layer. So that's going to be very important for all these teams who are going to be looking for shots above and below. Trying to shoot up from mid-ground is always a big risk, as you can get knocked down from below you, but now that can be opened up. So Sheep is being very meticulous about where he looks at, focusing a lot of his attention on the low ground layers, because he knows that this position might be a little bit more vulnerable than usual. Big shots coming out on him, but he has a lot of shields and a rift Drift as well, just in case things do hit the fan. We'll see if he has to use it at all, dropping in Storm to now waterfall down. Once again, dope mat management. He's going to be using one mat all the time to fall, making sure he falls diagonally to make sure he saves on a mat from a tarp switch as well, which is really, really nice. One elim amongst this duo, though, so the capitalization on points might not be there yet, but there are 20 individuals left alive, 12 duos. That first placement point comes in, and we'll see if they can get more points all the way up to the Vic Roy.
I really like what they're doing here, moving so slowly forward. Does find Raz, who was, below him all that time before, but slowly going in on the edge, really making it so that people don't realize that they're a threat, that they're up there, that they have high ground, and they're owning the game right now. Famhood still looking for those opportunities, just like you said. I think he's going to find one more as these players decide to fight. Couple in the zone. He does find KZ, but falls all the way down, unfortunately, going all the way down to 21 HP, and I already see a problem here because there's stink grenades in play, really, up on high ground.
Stink grenades in play on height is one of the most dangerous things because sometimes you can't even build higher. It's a lot worse for you. Famhood staying up so he doesn't get damaged at all either.
And that crazy mat switch right there as he was waterfalling down with wood, and then suddenly he switches. He still had 430 wood. Switches to brick. Makes it possible for him not to get knocked down. And I'm seeing a bunch of names down here that we started with. We saw Urav's Posick, and then Bumpa and Slappy, who each week we have been coming back to, and they've been getting better and better as they've started their journey as a duo together.
Absolutely. High tier loot as well from everyone, so every shot that connects will connect hard. Clank now trying to find a way through with Posick. We'll see if they can come up. 5 eliminations up. Can they get more? The final placement points has been handed out. A shadow comes in, and he gets stopped and slapped away. Slappy gonna get eliminated at the end over there. Some edits getting misplayed from Clank. Can he make it in? 46 HP, 26 now. A lot of damage taken, going to be detrimental towards the end of the game. Famhood actually goes down, so Sheep is left by himself. Clank jumping all the way up. Looks like he actually gets eliminated by the Storm, trying to go for an advantageous position.
Slappy actually got the elimination there because the Storm took him out, and Bumpa's still alive, so that point does connect, and they get into the top 5 as Super Evan goes down. Now it's a 1v1v1. Bumpa goes out to Godnik right there. And it's Sheep versus Godnik. Sheep on the high ground, Godnik down below, but he's in a little bit of a pickle because there's actually an iceberg in the way. He goes out in the Storm. I think he might have just taken high ground. Sheep doesn't realize where he's at. He's using the chug to heal off. He's running away from Godnik. The first time we've seen the chug splash used in that sort of manner. Running away, getting the ice on his feet on purpose, and then going right out. The chug splash. It's here, it's ready, and we're getting back to those crazy heal-offs, Shayo.
It's happening. It almost looked like a PG fight was going on, but we'll see. Go back to Zeke and see what's up with the rest of the games coming up.
I like that rhyme. I'm about that, Shy. I like you. You're a really cool guy. Man, what an insane game there coming out. The Chug Splash, man. I'm telling you, we have not seen the ceiling for this item. And people are going to continue using it to do some really fun and crazy things like that, but great for the player to identify, you know what, I can just live. I'm just going to keep just splashing the ground. I'm good.
Well, it's a great, because it's a change, right? I talked about it a little bit earlier. This fundamentally shifts kind of how those full storm closure and those heal ops play, because usually you have to account for it. There's no insta HP. It's either a HP over time via the Slurp of the Campfire, or you have to commit to either procking it off, whether it's the bandage, the med kit, or sitting there and popping a shield. So now all of a sudden, when it's an insta 20 HP and it stacks up to 6 times, like, you can exchange those out. So now a Siphon might not be enough. And I mean, those end games, things are getting weird.
Things are getting weird. Speaking of weird, I don't know, I didn't make a great transition, but we're hanging out with Sundown.
These plays were sick. They weren't
I was going to say, yeah.
Let's get right on into it, or let's dive on in. You can see the swimming pool over there. But first, we're on board with Niddle and Casker. Now, Niddle has qualified in the solos, is able to pick up 2xe there, and then start his work from top down. He picks up a nice double here onto Zextra right away, and then he finds Vinny right afterwards. So brilliantly done from him to be relentless, chase up with this, and manages to get the wall replaced, and then pushes in and will be able to close that one out. But gets knocked there. Kasker, however, held the high ground, didn't go down to contest, and is going to be able to ride this one out. You can see it's a 2v1v1, but he equalizes by picking up Top Gun and then getting the first shot and the second one, 6 HP left. We talked about the difference that could end up being it, but Ghost is lost, and Boppin didn't look lost here. They were able to put the bop on the rest of the lobby, picked up Snaz there, and this one was all about control. They're running the high ground from the entire time. They made sure they identified the threats by them, and then they picked good targets on the edge of the storm. And you can see Ghost following up right away. Virtue trying to make a move, but it wasn't enough, and Boppin is going to be able to just follow it up, and you can see them being relentless. And then Ghost, this is great. They tarp out the whole level. They know he's there, and Ghost is like, we're not going to lose. I'm 100-100. I'm going to go down. Every point matters. That one got them the 13th elim, and now we got Anthony and Riverson. So Riverson used to be the best of the West, now playing over in the East, trying to be a beast here, doing everything he can to get another qualification spot. He wants it so badly, picking up Fuifo there and trying to push through. You can see he pulls up with a great flank and control around the zone to get TJ, stay in it, and then recognize the shot onto Bluff at the end. Just brilliantly done. We've seen Riverson before, and now trying to do it with the new duo of Anthony in the final week. We're used to seeing him with Persecute, but let's see if it's enough to get him up here on the standings.
Here we go. Right now at the top, you've got Zayt and Saf leading with 48 points, 4 games played. But right behind them, you've got the liquid duo of 72 and Vivid. Tetra and Eclipse right behind them. And look at this, man. From top to bottom, an 8-point spread. That's, I mean, 8 points in striking distance is, making it what, let's say, top 5 and a few victory royales. And suddenly you're finding yourself up all the way up here. I mean, this is still really, really close.
And the one thing you have to realize, Eclipse and Tetra have already qualified. Zayt and Saf have already qualified. So right now it would be 72 hours and Vivid, Slacks and Keys, and then Assault and Innocent. But with all of these players here, we've talked about a reasonable pop-off game being about 15 points. It's a 5-win victory royale or a top 5 with 8 elims. And in duos in particular, because everyone kind of squishes together at the end, those numbers can be inflated. We've seen 20-plus point games. Yeah. We saw Stompy Tashinkin drop back-to-back 20-point games to take the top. It is still anybody's tournament for the last 3 spots. And again, this is it. After this, you're done. If you played on NA East, you can hang it up. If you're not going to New York, you get to watch with everyone else.
That's right. And again, if you're seeing these players and you don't recognize them, or maybe you do, just take a moment, send them some love. They're playing their hearts out right now, trying to punch their tickets. But of course, Fortnite fam, we're ready to hop back into more games. Thank you so much, Sun Up, for hanging out. We're going for a dip, so let's send it back over to Bala and Shy Wager.
Thank you, Zeke. Those eyebrows always on fleek, and so is NA East as we get into Dubs and Mega, the big titans of the entire server on solos and duos. A nice, varied, actually, rotation coming in. A ball sticking beside a flintlock pistol like a mother deer and her fawn as these guys move around the field at the moment. A lot of mats available as well, and they keep saving these mats as well when they use this type of rotation.
I love the use of the flintlock as a rotational item. It's something that you can always basically count on finding at least one, or maybe a glider redeploy, shadows, or something. And that flintlock, hey, sometimes you have it and you're like, oh, I don't have any rotation, but it saves the day here as Dubs and Mega make their way towards the zone and almost approaching that top 25. That's not a placement threshold here in duos. It's actually still half of the server alive right now.
It's just really impressive that these guys used these many limited mats, saved the ball, and got in without taking any damage, as it's so hard to do when one player has the ball and the other player doesn't. It takes so much experience. Speaking of experience, knowing the proper sight lines and the proper builds to shoot as well is huge, as Dubs is going to be calling the shots on who to shoot at the moment. Dubs looking at boxes beside him as well that are just completing. A lot of chaos going on around him as well. A blue tack shotgun available, so he gets multiple shots in close range. It actually does out DPS the combat if you are in that box-to-box moment, and that's what he's going to be looking for, doing his patented wall replacing. It is the box fight meta. And we'll see if Mega can play that meta as well, as one duo holds while the other one pushes. Flintlocks coming in that tack. Double tap. Ghoul goes down, now representing his name as a ghost in the server. We'll see what else these duels can do as we look at a huge aerial shot of everyone on the same layer on this mountain in the map.
Now, starting to flatten out, but we know the moving zones are coming, and we know those change things very fast. And as I was looking at those standings, I was looking and seeing what the average points are for those top places, the people who are going to be qualifying. Zayton Saffet up at the top, they were averaging just slightly over 10 points a game at 46, and they had only played 4 games. Same thing with 72 and Vivid. And, you know, I have a funny story about Dubs and Mega, actually. Dubs was giving me advice on how to play in the finals. He was like, Bala, you got this. You can qualify. All you need to do is get 10 points a game. I'm like, okay, buddy. You're only one of the few people who can do that consistently.
One of the only in the world. We talk about the placements and where individuals are in these leaderboards. The first 5 games and the last 5 games and these 5 shots coming out of Vix are so different and important as he gets that knock. When players are playing your first 5, the mentality is very different. You have some momentum, but as you move around in those leaderboards, those last 5 games, people start getting more serious. People start throwing games. Speaking about throwing things, all these bodies, as the zone just starts moving, looks like no one's really moving.
I'm already seeing the top 3 players. And we saw Keys and Slacks as well down below them. Looks like now as his teammate is already down, trying to find the player on the zip line. He heard it coming. Completely on it as he tunnels forward. Again, we talk about it every single time.
Line play coming in as he does gain a little bit. Even higher, balls flying all around him in the map as well. H-tag going down. Can he get the mats from that elimination? Yes, he can. 20 metal only, though, as he still has to rely on his trusty pickaxe, denying a player height on that layer as well. He does have 1 launch pad and 1 mat left. Tickers all the way up top with Hornet, who has qualified in solos as well. We'll see if he can replicate that and get double qualled with his dual partner as well. Kuturba dropping down a layer. We'll see if Vivid can find a way up.
Vivid doing crazy things right now. Fortunately, the zone did go back in his favor, so he doesn't have to spend too many materials as it's going downhill, and he uses the 1 piece of metal to block that shot, and now he's looking for more. He's looking to refresh. He needs to find something, possibly both of these eliminations in the storm. Yes, this is going to be the mats that he needs to refresh. Not even much, though. Every single time he finds an elimination, there's not much at all. The edit coming through, is he going to finish it off? Yes, but does he get the mats? Not really just yet, but taking the time, going back, still only 10 builds, really 15 builds here. Vivid, can you really do this right here with no mats from all the way back when? Clutching up, now into the top 5. He is doing this.
The big thing about getting these low ground eliminations is that everyone else is also in shambles. The big wall barrage coming in with the flint knock, just nice knowledge about where your materials are and where the angles are to get in. Has 2 heavy snipers available as well, so he takes multiple chances at moving through. Has to move up layers though. Silent edits coming in. Big Enas as well as Frat gets flown off that low ground as well. Vivid's just moving in ways I've never seen. Can he get that launch pad off?
No.
It might not be enough time. Vivid now going down to the zone is going to hold back as much as possible to see if the enemies were making a mistake, but that's the game. Hornet and Tickers playing the positional game there and winning it off with all this multi-high and low ground coming out. Look at these tarps, Bala.
Yeah, this fossil is ridiculous as it goes all the way back. I mean, really, we could actually track the story of Vivid, right? He had no materials through all of this. He barely contributed to that thing, but he survived until top 2. So what a performance there from Vivid, and that's why they're up there. That's why they're in 2nd place right now.
It's always that 1 or 2 pop-off game, and it's always also about staying consistent. If Vivid and Tom keep playing that way, easily they can qualify this week 100%. We see Stinks now, the big focus of week 10. A lot of people carrying them more than normal I've seen right now in all these regions. Nice dodges from Grasha there, though. We'll see if he can move forward. Has a lot of mats available for the moment. 3 elims amongst him and his dual partner Daxter, both representing E11 Gaming. They do have that patented flintlock and redeploy combo. I think is one of the most dynamic combos in the game, as you don't have to pull out anything if you fall off from height. It's very easy to kind of manipulate where you want to be exactly with those 2 items. Granted, though, they do take 2 slots.
But, I mean, 2 slots, and we've seen the use of it. Actually, I don't know if we've seen it on broadcast yet, but there's starting to be a lot of innovative uses with the flint knock and the glider redeploy. You actually go faster, even horizontally, when you use that flint knock and the glider redeploy, because you shoot that flint knock, it pushes you with the momentum, and then you're using that glider redeploy to just carry you forward.
The biggest thing about it, too, is that you can choose when to stop and take your shots as well. We see a lot of stuff happening on low right now as well. We have Pika on the server as well.
What is this? Is West just migrating to East? What is going on? Why are you here, Pika?
Maybe
on East?
the timings of West, they thought, hey, we should get into games now, and they fell off on the East. We'll see if they can get the stuff done. There are 2 more qual spots on East compared to West, though, so maybe that's one big thing if these guys think that they can pop off.
I mean, we've seen in the past Psalm, you know, he is a West Coast player, but the first week he actually moved over to East, making sure that he gives himself the most opportunities, the most spots, and he qualified first try. He's actually even East still with his partner Symmetrical this week, so Pika taking a little bit of a note from Psalm.
Yeah, absolutely. At the moment, though, this is not the first chance. This is the last chance. It's week 10, so everyone's pulling out all the tricks from the bag. No secrets here. We'll see if we get anything equivalent of an Olaf boost. We'll see if there's any secret stats happening as that door edit comes through. People now have adapted to that, though. They know that someone's coming through that door. Assault taking all his shield off when he gets onto this rotation. Only 2 minis available. We'll see if Innocence has any heals as well to supplement this duo as he gets booped a little bit of interruption there on his minis. He does have shadows available. Once again, 1 player on shadows, 1 player on the balls, and in perfect position as well as he can beam Hydra from the zone line. A nice dynamic switch onto the floor from the wall once you realize that someone was already pressuring that wall. This is just those micro decisions these players make at the last second of these shots to get that elimination when they move across the map as well. They're going to be on rotation now. We'll see when they box up and go back.
Assault getting beamed from the back, not realizing there was a player who's going to immediately realize that he's there. But I got to talk about it. We said pulling out all the stops. Assault and Innocence right here. They're sticking to the tried and true, the 1 baller strat. We've seen them do this, even dual baller all the way through from the beginning, but they just got ripped in. That baller is gone now, and they have to dive. No, Innocence is still down there, actually. I misspoke. There's so many players in the sky right now, but still. So I think he still has that baller. I think it could still last a lot, but look at his HP right now, not working out just yet. Where did Assault go? Did he land nearby?
He landed on the mid-ground there, Bala, and he got right to work as Branchies, who is also on East right now, playing it up, gets a big knock down from Assault. He, as soon as he landed, even though he was split, went straight to work, started bullying Davon, who also landed with Fernando on that mid-ground, and he has this insurance, once again getting tagged up, people just predicting everything these players are doing when it comes to smokes. There's no safety available. Everyone's on their best behavior. They know all the stops they can pull to get this pressure down. Assault's now getting dynamic with it. Might not move the same way to get that shadow off. It might affect him on the amount of distance he can move, but he still has mats, 500 wood left actually, which might prove fatal near the end of the game as that wood can get shredded through, just like cheese in a grater. We'll see if he can keep it yummy though. Assault on 41 HP, needs some more food, needs some more eliminations to get that siphon off and get him back up to 100. Sees that Stormline sightline as WordBro gets .exed out of the game. He's off now, 28 builds left for Assault. He doesn't get to pick up those mats. Owen and Threats owning probably the best mid-ground tarp they can have right now, but they're getting stinked off of it as there's so many people fighting for these high mid-ground layer tarps as well.
Staying on board with Assault, just great shots as he immediately realized that player was going to make an edit on him, getting the double combat shotgun shot through. And I think he wants to go for the mats, but maybe a little bit risky. Does find a med kit. Is he going to find the time to pop it? Is this the final zone? I don't think he's going to be able to do that unless he really goes for the full heal off right here. Now, down on low ground, there's still so many people left alive, Shiloh. I mean, there are 11 players total, 7 duos still remaining in this game, and it's final zone. It is time. 1 minute left in the game.
People are going to be playing super, super smart. The placements have not even gone out yet. All the points there. Still duos to get knocked down. 8 W keys get sent back to the jungle. No opportunity there for him to get any placements, unfortunately. One duo still needs to go down. Assault looking very healthy on HP and shield right now. Has a little bit more time to move through the storm. That storm taking 10 damage a second gives him about 8 to 9 seconds to move throughout without an elimination. Speaking of eliminations, Intangible goes down as Assault is now just freaking on everyone. Another shot coming in. Threats is getting eliminated. Can he keep it going? Assault has that low ground lair. It's very dangerous for the surprise factor. Davon getting that shot off, but it's not over yet. Creo and Nolan in a 1v1. Both their duos have gone down. Creo
What a
with
play!
the Superman launchpad on the height. Still has mats to answer with it as well. Starts taking the ticks of health first, but resets those ticks as Nolan has fallen under less HP. Creo with the high IQ launchpad and safety switch to stay in the storm and clinch out that game. Huge plays there. 3 eliminations. The victory royale. Creo, you can't do it better, Bella. You can't.
Creo just pulled off one of the most insane clutch launch pads I have ever seen, knowing exactly that Dusty Divot has these, kind of elevation changes. It goes up and then it goes down drastically. He knows there's builds up there. I can get up there and I can out-heal or outlast you as you have to make your way through all of that old fossil. Perfect play there from Creo, and that's why he's qualified in solos, right? So he's trying to do it now, trying to get double qualified and bring his teammate KiwiFace along with him.
We talk about qualified duos and solos. Sap and Zayt now, who also qualified for duos, are going to be looking at getting some more money and placement as well as they keep playing for these top spots for respect and practice as well. Slurp sticking on Sap. He does have a few more. They pick up an elimination. A lot of loot to work with now. Looks like they have excess mats as well. They're in zone. They could big up their base if they wanted to, make it a little bit bigger for more sightlines, or they could stay cool, calm, collected. One cool thing I see from low ground usually is if you stay a little bit more low key and then look for surprise shots where people don't expect it, that's where you can get those big picks. On height, it's always dope to, edit your walls, see if there's any advantage points, but with low ground, you usually have 1 or 2 angles, and you can get those pop-off moments there.
So Saf and Zayt, I've seen a little bit of on Zayt's Twitter about his strategies going into New York, talking about how he's trying to control his drop spot being Loot Lake. That's going to be one of the most interesting storylines in New York, being the fact that they claim Loot Lake to themselves, but we know how many duos are already dropping there. We know how many duos are already qualified in New York. So Zayt talking about, I'm trying to stop anybody else from being in there because he already has Sean and Aiden. He already has Mitra and Mongo. They're trying to claim Tilted, but they could come back to their old home the way they qualified.
The mind games from duos saying on Twitter, we might be taking this spot or that spot. The biggest theme for Worlds is going to be clashing of all these storylines. Everyone plays in their region. They know the rules, but that always gets flipped as Juxta gets flipped as well in the Storm. He goes down. Easy Elam points picked up from Sap and Zayt.
Yeah, I do want to shout out real quick somebody who's been doing a lot of research on those clashes going into New York in solos. He put together all the drops. That's Arcane on Twitter. Absolutely amazing work. He just does that week in, week out. And now we really can look at a map and say, okay, we're going to see this, we're going to see that, and I can't wait for it. But you know what else I can't wait for? It's Fuzzy and Hogman. This is one of the teams that has had those, heartbreaking weeks, those heartbreaking moments, but also very positive, triumphant, because every week they're up there as Hogman picks up webs. Every single week they are getting so close. And we saw them up on the leaderboard before, right around possibly this game is fresh for us, not even realizing any of the points here. Hogman, you are crazy. He just went all the way up on high ground with the baller, and Fuzzy's doing the same too, but staggered because now, no, just barely. I thought he was going to take full high ground while Hogman fights from below. But what a crazy play there. They're all of a sudden in a really good position.
They talk about the use of ballers in competitive, but no one does it better, I think, than Hogman and Fuzzy. Hogman was the king of ballers coming in from solo. He's kind of given that knowledge to Fuzzy as well. The amount of time they can keep these ballers alive near the end of the circle. A Rift coming out now, seeing if they can once again reposition. Looks like their game plan is always zone 6 and 7. Fight for that height. Use your mats then. So if the balls don't work, we'll see if the Rift to go can work. And it does almost, as Hogman gets that slow deploy,
yes,
but pops off on Sean Claude from the back. We'll see if he can build up. Another shot coming in. The Sidewinder combat shotgun. We'll see if he can wall replace here. His enemy goes down lower towards the ground. Sean gets that Elim, or Hogman gets the Elim confirmed on Sean. Multi-layered high ground available as well for this duo.
Yeah, and I'm curious, okay, they are going to use the launch pad to get right back down. Actually, Fuzzy's going to go ahead and drop all the way down. He does have that glider redeploy, but one thing I'm noticing in their inventory, they have the chug splashes. We saw the play earlier from Famhood. So that is a possibility here in this game, but there's still so much to play, Shio.
The chug splash is one thing you can always bait and switch with. We saw that high ground PG fight about to happen, but instantaneously that heal off came in. We'll see what these duels can do with the utility they have. Brispy going for a nice utility play as his trap gives him some fruition, but he can't capitalize on getting those mats, ammo, or weapon upgrades because these guys have to move for the storm. Sometimes you can get those high priority elims down, but you won't be able to get everything out of them except for just the points, and it might make it so that you fall behind on tempo for the rest of the game, moving on positions.
Speaking of tempo, I love how Cherry here is not, full topping all the way through, but what he is doing is placing a floor and a cone on the bottom layer and making sure that if anybody's going to go below, I can make that edit. I can open up on you.
A lot of personalized styles from a lot of people. Powbro going down. We'll see Cherry actually moving behind his builds as his duo stays up. This is huge. 6 duos left alive now. 1 more placement point left. We'll see who's allowed to play and who is not going to get any placement points from this point onwards. Hogman on the high ground with Fuzzy, who's trying to wall replace. Once again, this genius type of split on height where one person, one target, where the other one goes and does the dirty work. Fuzzy in a dirty situation, but Hogman cleans it up. Very nice stuff there as they get that elim down. Big points available as well for these duels if they can keep getting these elims over and over again.
And I love how they collapsed directly on that player. As soon as they got both the cone and the floor, that player started full sending on them. They both came down and made sure that they would handle this, but making sure that they're also getting that victory royale. They're slowing down, splitting the materials, knowing exactly where that LXRI duo is going to be, but Fuzzy goes down. It's now all up to Hogman, maybe opening a little bit preemptively there, but it's still top 3 situation. They've earned all the placement points. Hogman's going to get revenge onto Cherry. There's still one more down below, but he has no mats. Just fine. The Siphon mats right there. That's going to allow him to stay up just for a little bit longer using the Chug Splash. Not yet using that slurp, but he sees an opportunity, does get a couple shots. Now it's a 1v1 down on the low ground. Hogman can take his time or go full send, get the elimination. Yes, onto Brispy, and then finally onto Lotus. Hogman and Fuzzy take the victory royale with 20 points.
Options, options, options. Hogman just using the proper shots, using the proper heals. Zeke, what do you think about all this, man? How is this stuff getting so insane and more ramped up over and over again?
We knew for a while now that Hogmans and Fuzzy had it, and right then they just put all the pieces together. A massive 20-point game. Let's go.
Fuzzy Wuzzy doesn't care. Fuzzy Wuzzy will take all your points away and qualify for the World Cup. That should have rhymed. I apologize.
Sundown has long hair. There's the rhyme.
You go.
All right, let's talk about some dope clips that you pulled for us.
Yes, let's take a look at some of the individual efforts that are coming out. I know it's Duos Week, but right now these guys are putting their partner on their back. First, you can see Vivid, no mats, no partner, no problem. Picks up the first elim, then immediately gets the knock onto a rough. He gets the bare minimum of mats there, a little bit more, 18, and he's able to convert it into more. Gets the immediate pickaxe and then finds out GG's only rigor, not enough there. Frags his way into the top 10, and then he's still going. We hopped on board with him. He was at 2 elims, no mats, no partner. Now all of a sudden, 6 elims, 75 mats, has control of the mid-tarp, gets himself into that top 5 situation, almost single-handedly, brilliantly done from the week 1 qualifier. It was a great effort and another great individual effort out of Assault here. Drops down, puts the drum gun at mid-range to work, picking up branches, and then gets the upgrade to that legendary combat, and then he's going to go to town with it. Finds Wordbro on the quick rotation through, and then doesn't let up, still picking people up inside the top 10 and sticking with it. This is how Innocence and Assault have made their plays. They've done it by fragging out and getting the elims, trying to be the only full controller duo. Shout out to Wolfies being the second controller player to make it so far to the Fortnite World Cup for the duos, and Assault just running down the low ground here. And again, this has been all without Innocence. We hopped on board. He was only on the 2 elims. He's able to get 5, 6 now, and then get himself into the top 5 as well. Just a brilliantly done play. And will the individual efforts be enough? Speaking of an individual effort, Creo with the nuts launchpad up onto the high ground, and then watch how he stays in the storm. We talk about every single interaction mattering, sometimes not even the interaction mattering, every single second, and just having 1 more second in the zone. He knows when it goes to full close, he's ready to challenge out. brilliantly done trying to get Lazarus a duo spot as well as their solo spot. Let's take a look at the standings so far. It is Slackies and Keys right now in the top spot, 57 points. The Young Calculator and Macwood just behind them with 56. And then Aroa and NPen currently in third at 55. The spread starting to get there now, 9 points. But again, it is anybody's match, Zeke. It is anybody's tournament, anybody's day. All of these guys have been so close. And this is really a who's who of NA East for competitive Fortnite.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really big names here. Again, there's only the 3 spots in NA East, so a lot of these guys are going to look to bring their A game heading into these last few matches. I mean, when you look at even Calculator and Macwood, right, they've got the 7 games played. That's a lot with very little margin of error there, so gotta hope they come out with some really big games. But Fortnite fan, we appreciate, of course, you guys for hanging out with us, sticking around for Fortnite, all the Fortnite action. But for now, we're going to break. I know. Just get up, go get yourself a snack, use the restroom, come back. We'll have more Fortnite action. Don't go too far.
Let's fly down to the lobby. Let's fly down to the lobby. Let's fly down to the lobby to get your spots and lumps. Burgers from dirt to munch. Tacos Royale with brunch. Red Juicy's a tasty treat for Lil Whip, Peely, and Pizza Pete. Let's fly out to the lobby to get your spots and lumps. Let's fly out to the lobby to get your spots and lumps. What's up, Fortnite fam?
Today, we're going to be playing for $3 million for charity, folks, and it is going to be an incredible time.
50 of your favorite Fortnite personalities will be paired up with 50 celebrities put on this fantastic stage.
It's going to be awesome. It's duos, so we've seen it before at the Pro-Am last year, and it's always a blast. I can't wait to see what's going to happen.
The first match of the Summer Block Party Pro-Am is beginning right now. They're putting down pressure. No one's safe now. That's one Elim right there. Can he get a second? That is going to get followed up because he desperately needs materials. A player behind, 102 to the face. Look at this, he's just waiting for a full send. It's Symphony. He shuts him down. It's a 1v1. Who is the other player that's left? Oh! Here it is. He's going to go with the X. Oh! Wow. Dude, that was aggressive. Look at him go here. Just beating down players. No weapons. Doesn't even need them. Wants this. Look at this. Aiden's just supplying pressure. Oh, tries to go high grab. This might have been a mistake. This is Aiden. We're talking about more damage. Bucky's down to nothing. And Aiden. Victory Royale.
Ball, it doesn't connect with the shot. Marshawn Lynch hits 75 blue.
One great shot connects up, comes up over top. It's a second right there, and the Rifter goes out.
Oh, she's on the run. She's chasing it down.
You're not going to let this one go away. Oh, no, no. You know, you're a solo. No turning back now.
35 wide on that damage there, and Ewok got the target. One build remaining, and that's it. He's going to land in front of him, and Typical Gamer. Final game. Typical Gamer pops up behind Janina. Oh, the rage. At this point in time, not looking the best when it comes to the... Oh, no!
Final moments, Golden Boy.
This is it right here, the 1v1. It's going to be Aiden going up against Symphony, pushing forward, forcing the activity. Oh! Symphony with the victory royale! Your winner of the second Fortnite Pro-Am is RL Grime and Wow!
I'm a big fan of competitive Fortnite and watching it, so this has been really cool to be involved with.
Ça fait easy, actually.
Easy peasy.
Welcome back to the Fortnite World Cup Online Open. We are in our last week, and we are knee-deep in the action in NA East. So let's get right back in the action. I mean, we're seeing crazy storylines right now. So many names are fighting for that top of the leaderboard. We just saw Hogman and Fuzzy clutch up big time. We see names like 72 Hours and Vivid, Aspect and Animal. They're all pushing the top of the leaderboard. So let's get right back into it. Gentlemen, I have Sundown and I have Zeke. Guys, take it away.
Boom. The original duo returns again.
You know us, you probably don't like us, but we're ready to get into the matches. NA East is on
for
its way.
yourself.
Week 10 going. I know everybody loves you, but
I was going to say everyone hates me.
Appreciating humor. The games are ready. Let's get into it. The back third of NA East. These are going to be the final, not quite the final match. We've still got a little bit to go. We still got a little bit of leaderboard to work through, but we're getting down to the wire in terms of the spot. Brazil is getting down there as well. We'll have those results when they're final, but only 5 spots left. And the Fortnite World Cup solos are done, and this will be the end of the duos as Bugga gets sent back to lobby right away. No wall replacement going on there, just a straight shot to the grill from Exis and Cease.
Well, you know, this is just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. But don't forget, guys, those thresholds, all right? Top 15, top 10, top 5 in the victory are the placement thresholds. Every elimination is a point. Very simple to remember. We're back in that dual format, and just like Sundown says, this is it. You know, this is the final opportunity for these players to punch their ticket to the finals in New York City. Don't forget that it's July 26th through the 28th. Don't miss it. Mark your calendars. We're going to be hanging out, having a great time, and watching some of the most competitive Fortnite we've ever seen in our entire lives right now. Aroa, looks like some people are trying to just be up in his airspace. He's not favoring it right now. Send some shots out. Nothing's quite connected yet, Sundown, but I think it's fun that we're all hanging out with our little slidey feets.
I really, really dislike. So I actually like box fights more when I have ice on my feet, because for some reason I've actually, like, I went back and looked, I win a higher percentage of them. I don't know if it's just because the chaos or it throws my opponents off more, but in terms of rotating and all that, just absolutely dislike it. But Aroa and NPen getting pushed on by Destroy and his partner. Destroy will end up being converted over, but he's trying to disengage over. He knows Destroy is going to end up being picked up, is going for the revive on NPen right now as RJX pushes in, trying to get over towards his partner, but not going to be able to do it. As Frost and Devious keep putting pressure on him, Baldy Sama is directly above them as well. No shotgun in sight, Zeke.
That's probably why he's not taking this fight. He could easily get in that box, but I mean, if you're going to put an infantry rifle to work in that close range, you're probably not going to hit the shots, especially with a shallow magazine there. You probably just don't want to be taking those fights.
Well, it's so close range, it's not horrible, right? 44 to the chest, and then you have the 88 afterward. Oh my God! He uses it, he pushes it to the box, and he finds it. The back-to-back headshots. Dini gets sent down right away, and now Baldy knows he has that wall. He's trying to find the shot. Can he find it? No, instead gets ripped up into the sky. He's like, all right, I'll take a free rotation. Would have liked the shotgun, but a rotation will be nice, as you can now check out the backside of the storm. Ricardini, Assassin, FA Mark, Dodo Crunchy, and Orbi all trying to make it over to that launch pad. Diego and Aiden just rotating on the low ground. The SH boys trying to find some room. No utility, insight, and hurting on Matt so far.
So you know what I've discovered is that I guess these players can just somehow hear me. So every time I say something that doesn't seem plausible, they just say, Zeke, hold my slurp juice. Watch this. So that's why I basically said that. I was like, there's no way. Oh. And, you know, I was wrong. Niddle there picked up, though, and, of course, he's going to be confirmed there because that's going to keep Aiden alive. That extra siphon going to make the difference.
And then the storm actually moving back over across from him when he's in kind of a tough position from the metal. Will now have to rotate away, but isn't going to be forced out. And with just above 70 effective HP, that's going to be huge. Going to chuck out the stinks to try and get whatever ticks he can. Those players are all super low, and he drops down. He gets Cameron in JG. Can he find the other player? Casker gets ticked over as well. That's 1, that's 2. He gets the knock there. He needs to find the conversion. Can he find the siphon? He did. 49. He needs to find the zone, though. 1, 2, 3. You can't miss the PowerPoint. Oh! The siphon again. That was his knock, which means he gets into the zone. 19 HP, and Jezel TTV takes him down. give him a follow there, as Psalm and Symmetrical are the only ones up on the high ground. The rest of the lobby is going to have to go up against Old Man Mountain as Aspect begins his climb. So does Exus. Tendons and Nolan's directly behind him as we're closing in on the top 10. Z-Laner picks up Funded, and Nolan actually gets a knock onto Psalm, which I'm assuming is from knocking out the high ground. So I'm not sure anybody's up there. Yep, high ground is now gone. Aspect and Animal own it.
12 players, 8 duos, top 5 is the next threshold. You've got a player down below using that campfire, trying to keep themselves alive right now in Aspect. And you know, his dual partner Animal, like you said, they've got the high ground advantage. This is huge. It depends on where we're going, but look at Animal's HP. Bottom left right now, critical condition. Laner there is going to be picked up, and on 106 over on the dome of that player. Aspect only gets traded out for 38.
He wants to go aggro on him. He knows where that player is, knows he's on the backside. He's looking to find it. How deep did he disengage down? Can I go find it? As Symmetrical picks up Bambi for Pyronic, and we're going to have our top 5. So now it's Stony and Crunchy on the low ground. Tendons and Forwards on the tarp beneath. Aspect and Animal on ultimate high. Tendons and Nolan are in your bottom right-hand corner. Aspect and Animal in the top right. You can see all the rest of the action on the left-hand side as Stony does end up actually forcing down Nolan. Tendons goes to try and challenge, is able to find it, and then Stony gets knocked as well. But the high ground's going to be the difference as Tendons is doing everything he can to remain in the zone, and he found it, 10 HP, but it's not going to matter. Aspect picks it up. That's the 4 elims plus the victory round, 14 points going over, pushing them up to 53. That's why they were up there on the leaderboard. The favorites coming in after all the warm-ups kind of fell off, but Aspect has been rolling, and they're trying to make it again. This is week 10. Oceania is done. Asia is done. Europe is done. And we're in the back half of NA East. It is time to put up or stay at home. The trips to New York City are on the line, and Bizzle and Demo want to be there together. Of course, Bizzle qualifying in week 1, but he wants to be playing with Demo on that stage.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you want to try and get your dual partner into the finals, right? This is going to be one of the most insane events, I think, ever, right? And if you're Ghost Bizzle, who's already qualified, you're thinking, I've got to try and get my dual partner there. Demo, we've got to make it there. And, you know, they've come close. They haven't put it together yet, but
I think they came probably about as close as any other guys. I've told the story a couple times.
Yeah, you have.
And I think it was week 4 or week 6. No, it was week 6. There was one Shadow Bomb rotation when they were in 16th place where they popped the window and 2 guys were staring at them. Just waiting for the door to come out, and they both got lasered, and a half second later, somebody else went down. So that would have been the points. That would have been enough to push them over the top. And that's when we talk about every little moment mattering, every decision sometimes being the difference. That is the prime example. But Virus QT does get picked up, and Bizzle and Demo are going to look to make a case here. Kind of hurting in terms of utility, but positional-wise, not in a bad spot.
Yeah, I mean, ammo is looking pretty sparse, right? Just a mag and a half in the AR. There are a few rounds to the flintlock, a few slugs there for the combat. Not much in the way to work with. Look on the other side, though. Vivid. He is 2 boxes away. Now, 72 is in critical condition. Take a look, and look at this. 5 total builds.
No shields on either of them. Like, they have less than 100 effective HP. They do have a rift, but you don't want to go skyward unless you're going late, and it can guarantee you placements. But you also don't want to be caught out in an awkward rotation here. They can't afford to tarp. You either have to go right away or go super late and just pray nobody looks in your direction, which for somebody, they're sitting on 50 points. Can he find 1, 2, 3? But the 16 isn't going to be enough. They desperately needed it, but now attention is drawn their way. 72 is going over. You see the combat swiveling towards them. It's Lotus directly above, Predator on the backside, and they're going to go late. They're going to go late, and they're going to pop and just hang out and hope nobody looks skyward, because 1 AR bullet will drop 72, 2 will drop Vivid, but right now everyone else is worried about rotating. There it goes, skyward, and he knows it's white. All of a sudden, Vivid goes straight.
Oh my God!
Box, can he find it?
Oh!
Mateos gets dropped. That could be the difference. They have all the mats. They have the mid-tarp. They need to drop down and get more, though. They need the campfire. They need all the resources. You see, on the right, Vivid is down. You have to cover your sides. Vivid is down. 72 has to clutch up, but he's taking ticks. He's over in the storm. You can see him there, dead middle of your screen, and he is down outside of the top 15. But look in the bottom left, Ninja in reverse still up. Bizzle and Demo, Artsy and Midas, Sean Claude in the middle as well. And hello, Burst SMG. First time I think we've seen that. All cast Bizzle puts it to work right there.
Every single weapon, every single form of utility, everything in the hands of these players that are playing the top 0.001% will be lethal.
I mean, Bizzle doesn't even need to use weapons sometimes to be successful. We've seen him, you know what, I'll give him a shout out for the memery, but like, in the end, it's really impressive doing that. You don't expose yourself to risk, but the fact that he's still going out and trying to make plays with the impulses and the turrets, like, that's when you know somebody's on another level for the solos competition. But Cartier Cole and Cartier Chris looking skyward, drops everyone, and he turns back. Cool guys don't look at explosions as 1-2 tick over right there. Really heads up play.
Unfortunately, they're not going to get the materials and ammo, but still, 2 eliminations, 2 points on the board, and pushes them into top 15. You like to see it. The lobby is going to continue thinning out. Now, keep in mind, top 10 is that next placement threshold. That's where their next aim is. You've got someone up in the sky trying to challenge Germ. I'm so sorry. You have been eliminated.
Hogman goes down, but was inside the top 10, so he got the 5 points. Bizzle and Demo are still up as well on the mid-tarp as shots are raining down from Chris and Cole. They're doing so well. Bizzle and Demo both go down outside the top 5. No more points there for the vaulted duo, and now Janik picks up dimes. We have our top 10 as top 5 as Cherish is inside of it. Reverse and Ninja still on the low ground. Lotus with a great slide around. Reverse with an even more heads-up play. Ninja's in your bottom right. Cartier Cole in your top right. Janik and Stowe on the mid-tarp as we have a 2v2v2. RPGs are coming out. Can they catch it? They catch it right away. Player gets dropped down. Ninja reverse make quick work of him, but then Ninja catches the rocket right on his face. Can he find some time? Watch Ninja in the bottom right. Cartier Cole in your top right now. You can see Reverse trying to get an angle to support him. Cole has got the RPG reloaded, begins to work top down. Ninja continuing to tarp himself out. Did have enough room.
No.
Reverse went to the sky. Are they going to look up while Ninja tries to get them distracted? Now they're looking downward as Ninja is distracting. This is the split from Reverse. Gets blasted out of the sky. Interesting call as Reverse now gets dropped to Ninja. Make the play. The clutch is on him. Gets cracked back 17 HP, but now he has the high ground with Shadows. Needs to pop minis if he can get the room. A siphon would be huge, and it's not going to happen. Chris and Cole shut down Reverse and Ninja. 8 elims in the victory royale, pushing them up to 45 points.
Man, that was, you know, I respect the play for sure, but hindsight is 20/20. That's all I'm going to say about that. Next game, here we go. You got E11 Heart there in the center screen. 33 players, 19 duos remain. So we're pushing the very stretches here of the lobbies. You know, more often in finals day we've seen dense lobbies, upwards of 50 people, upwards of 30 duos remaining, and that is not the case because today is the difference. Today is your opportunity to qualify for finals in New York City, and that's all these players have worked for. 10 weeks, they put it all on the line, giving everything they've had, and they're looking to make the difference today.
As B-Hex gets some great shots out there. B-Hex being known as one of the players who actually played across region a ton pre-World Cup when that was allowed, and he won money over in Europe actually multiple times. Just a really good kind of high execution style player. First time I've seen him with Heart, so really interested, but they're up at 51 points. Like, they're challenging and they're within striking distance. And also, like, I want to give a huge shout out right now to all of the players who played and competed. Thank you so much from like the bottom of my heart, being able to cast this, analyze this, work on this show, watch you guys develop and continue to grow and do such cool, awesome gameplay stuff, and continuing to push the limits of Fortnite and grinding it out, whether it's the practice or every single one of these tournament windows, playing through holidays, getting the support of your family and your friends, and pouring all of your heart and soul into this. It means genuinely the world to me, and it is so much fun to watch you guys just push this game to its very limits. So thank you for making our job just so awesome and so easy as we're into the final moments of NA East. Less than 45 minutes on these queues. Again, you get 3 hours or 10 matches, whichever comes first, and then you are done. So 40 minutes left to queue, and then the World Cup experience is over for those in the East.
That's right, and the next step would be the World Cup Finals. But here we go, man. Hopping in, you see Keys and Slacks. Looks like the HP is okay, but let's take a look at that loadout. It's looking pretty good. I'd be curious to see what Keys has, because Slacks is pretty stacked. Like, obviously, if you had like 3 more Shadow Bombs, an extra 2 rifts, or an extra rift, excuse me, to have 2, that'd be great. But even Keys' loadout's not bad either.
Yeah, lots of rotation. They're going to look to play safe here. They see everyone around them rifting over. The pressure plant rotation is not necessarily a fun one. And I know there's also kind of a general, I want to say conspiracy theory, where the circles are forced to go over mountains or changes in verticality. I can 100% confirm that is not true. The way the kind of like the storm works, there's a minimum and maximum distance for how far it can move from the current circle, and that's it. There's no like predetermined path or all that, so I will just absolutely eliminate that conspiracy theory. But now Slacks is trying to eliminate his opponent in the box. Hello? Ezreal gets headed in, and the fact is they're wearing the exact same skin as well, and so is the other duo. Might have been a moment of confusion there. That's what can happen, but a brilliant pickup from Slacks and Keys, who are trying to make their push for qualification. That Elim gets them into the top 15 as well. 8 Elims, 11 points so far from this match, and Keys is looking to do everything they can. We've seen them, Zeke. They're at the top, and they keep it up.
Just having the same skin is probably what made the difference, because you saw the player for a moment react and maybe take a shot, and they were like, wait, not the...
The vertical ceiling trap is so good because the stair got put in the place, but you're only going to block it if you're on the lower side of it. Knew they'd both been on that and just was able to wiggle past the shots into the other box. His teammate editing that one at his back. That's what good duos do.
Now Cross, I mean, his duo is gone. That's it. He's by himself. But look, he's trying to make at least top 10 at minimum. There you go. He's held on. He's now in top 5.
Yeah, the Dominican.
Or top 10.
Saturno being picked up. We saw him in the winter route trying to represent, but Vizitel gets picked up, and BHEGS up on the high ground, completely uncontested. So the guys you want to keep your eyes on right now are BHEGS and then Slacks and Keys. They're the ones who are trying to make a push for qualification. What happens to them is what matters here. All the rest of the players playing for their shot at the prize money, but those duos are in contention for a World Cup spot. BHEGS picks up Snappy on the high ground. Jaw is able to get Stainless, and Cross is trying to find some sides. Drags gets picked up as well. The top 5 is going to be huge. Knock comes through because of the stink, and we get close to that top 5.
There it is. Top 5 has been achieved. Now look at this. We are moving. There's only a single duo left in this lobby. Everyone else is a solo rider. Another person has been eliminated. Look at this. Cross is just trying to cross up these players, finding the elimination. That's Keys.
Yeah,
he shuts them down.
Slacks and Keys were the last duo, but Keys is now knocked. It's a straight solos competition from here.
All coming down to the wire. Look at Cross's HP, though. He can top back up to 100 shield, but his HP is going to make the difference. You see HK down below. He immediately gets picked up. Again, like Sundown talked about, Begs and Slacks. These are the 2 players to keep your eyes on, and that is, they are 2 of the 3 players left. Cross is the meat in this sandwich right now. He does not want to be here. Begs has all of the HP advantage in the world. And now look at this. Cross, he knows Slacks is close. He doesn't know how much HP he's on. He knows Begs is up top, keeping him pinned down. And look at Slacks is trying to close
Slacks
out.
has no mats. Slacks has absolutely no mats. Watch how he's walking around. He has nothing. He's just running through the open. BHEGS just lasered him right there. Cross needs to get the edit on him, and he does. Cross will pick that up. BHEGS should be able to close this out because Cross is on no mats now. BHEGS needs to get it, and he does. Gets the Elim, gets the victory royale. 65 points for BHEGS and Hart. That's what I'm talking about. Keys and Slacks, those are the moments. Cross getting the Elim and BHEGS closing it out. If the Keys and Slacks are able to get that, that could be the difference. But with every single interaction mattering, these are the exact moments, the ones that will impact who is sitting there, and we're going to get right into a next match. You can see Lavish, Vivid, 72 hours, Ninja, Reverse, pick whoever you want. 53 points right now for the Liquid duo. Make it 54 once they convert onto C-Leo. There is no quad crasher flying in this zone around Vivid in 72. No flight zone. They'll swat you down.
Man, look at where we are, man. Gus, it depends on where we go from here. The effective play space is going to get very funky very, very quickly. You can see, if you're looking in the bottom right, there's already some of that blue area. Remember, that's the edge of the mountain. So that space, you could build off of the side of the mountain, but you don't want to be doing that.
When in doubt, throw a grenade. Golden Boy is so proud. He got another one. That's a double for him. 5 eliminations. Now, the question is, can they loot goblin it? Can they get all of that? Because they saw other Splodes go to it. Bizzle had been pouring in Splodes. They want to get all of this because this is 3 teams worth of loot on the side of the zone. They have literally can open a whole anything. Like everything is wholesale. You want medkits, you want shields, you want ammo, you want mats. The Liquid Boys got it right now.
This is going to just like absolutely increase their potential winning this game, right? They've got it all. Their loadout is looking so good, and now with that Rift to go, all the upgrades, you've got a combat shotgun right there sitting outside. I hope that they've potentially picked that up.
They're both already rocking them. Like, you can tell. They was like, people complain about, come on, you got combats laying everywhere. These guys will leave. What do you mean they need them? No, I'm just kidding. Come on, guys.
That was a good one. That was a good one. I like that.
No, I'm not funny. It's fun. But now you can see what they want to do is they are on the far side of this zone. They're not really sure where players are, but they're actually, if you look in the bottom right-hand side, there's about 3 duos in between them and the zone. So they're going to opt for an early launch pad, but they're so far away, it's not really going to give them as much distance as they hope. Maybe getting to 50-50, but they're still going to have to vertical up. You can see Vivid on the left-hand side getting ripped as Ninja is now trying to 90 his way upwards / double ramp, but he's getting ripped. Hey, Shadow Bombs, rift. Don't hold on to him. It's not worth taking all the trip. Pop a Shadow, get over, get safe. We've seen it before. Oh, no, got the chugs going up, and yep, they're just going to up. Well, they're so close. You can see in the bottom right.
Yeah, they don't
desperately want to build in. They don't want to burn it right now, but they use so much of those resources. I think it would have been worth a Shadow. But now look at that stack right there. Demo, Bizzle, Chap, Poach, Ninja, Reverse, Instinctual on that side. That is one heck of a side of a mountain.
There is just so many high-profile players that we have seen. And now, look, like you said, man, now they have to burn things like the Slurp, right? I completely agree. They probably should have used the Rift. But, like, it's better to use it than lose it, you know?
As long as they had enough to get themselves back up, not losing the effective HP, like, they're going to be fine. They have a good side of the zone. It's worth holding the material for there. It's just, you get a critical mass point, right? Like, if Ninja gets one more headshot on him, somebody's going to pour a stick grenade at him, or they're going to spend more resources. As now he's trying to fight Chap. He gets the knock. That was a 36 and a 72 with a little bit of fall damage. Will they be able to aggress right there? That's Chap and Poach trying to get out. They also have priority on the zone. If you look